Hello and welcome to round 7 Oddities. I can't believe we're in round 7 already. That is crazy. This video will be a little bit shorter than the one last week, mainly because I had some major issues with my computer. I wasn't able to boot it up. I just had no screen at all, so it's still going to be a decent amount of time, but just not as big as last week. Anyway, let's get into the first clip. Not entirely sure what Sam Powell-Pepper was doing, but as you can see, he's kicked it straight into the man on the mark. This was a certain goal. Ends up not being. This is the first double oddity of the week as Eric Hipwood gets the ball, tries to handball it to Lucky Neal, but he just misses completely. Misses it by quite a few metres actually, and the umpire says it's insufficient intent and therefore it's a free kick. And as Jones goes to play on, he plays on out of bounds and Lucky Neal forces him over the boundary, so it's a throw-in. Happens in footy and also happens in real life. It's the retaliator who gets the worst of it. As you can see, Simpkin pushes Jason Horne-Francis in the back, and he pushes him back and somehow gives away a free kick, and eventually a 50-metre penalty for umpire abuse, I think it was in the end. The umpires have to be more aware of this. They know they're targeting Jason Horne-Francis. We saw one earlier in the match where there was a push in the back like Simpkin did at the start, and that was paid a free kick. But this was reversed and then eventually led to a North Melbourne goal. The way that Jason Horne-Francis marks this ball and then lands on his teammate but takes it down so gently, I thought this was a little bit odd, but thanks to his teammate for allowing him to land very softly. This was goal of the week for me as the Pies took on the Bombers. The ball goes inside the forward 50 and it bounces down, and then Bobby Hill grabs it, turns onto his right boot and kicks it from the pocket, and this is in the wet. You can see how many people are in ponchos and he still absolutely nails it. While sometimes the bump does have a very nice effect on the players, and it does look very good when you can lay a big bump, I feel like Freo would have got a free kick if this was a tackle rather than a bump. Sometimes you just have to choose the tackle. How's this from the big ruckman Rowan Marshall? As he gets the ball, he's on his knees and he's trying to get it to his teammate, but the big O is standing right in front of him. So he knows he can't go over the top, so he just completely nutmegs him, just goes straight through his legs. In the end, in the slow-mo, we can actually see that this bump is fair from Liam Stocker, but if this was an inch or two higher, or Lohman turned his body a little bit earlier, this would have hit him in the head, and he probably would have been missing 3 weeks. And I think this is where we are in the status of the game at the moment, especially with someone like Paul Curtis, who got the 3-week suspension. If you decide to bump, if you decide to tackle, and someone gets knocked out, then it's a suspension. So this one here from Liam Stocker is not a suspension, but no doubt if this hit Lohman in the head and he was concussed, it would be 3 weeks. Now, I'm not saying that it's always the incident and the outcome, that's sort of what everyone talks about, but it's a really fine line, and it's a changing point in our game at the moment, that if this continues to happen and people get suspended for legal tackles or legal bumps, it's going to be, like Luke Parker said, it's going to become touch footy. Anyway, I'm glad that this clip here didn't get him suspended, because I think that is the right decision, but he's treading a very fine line. Everyone's saying that the bump is dead. Let's make sure it doesn't happen. This kick here from Toby Green was also fairly odd. He did this the other week against the Crows too, where he missed an absolute sitter. These things he kicks 9 out of 10 times, probably 99 out of 100 times he kicks. And for some reason this year he's just got the whoops. You can see that he's straight out in front and somehow misses this goal. This was at the start of the game of the Dockers and the Crows game, and you can see Josh Tracy gets the ball just outside the 50, probably 55 or so metres out. Basically takes 1 or 2 steps and just absolutely launches it and completely flushes it. This was a really sweet looking kick. I had to slow this one down so you could get a context, understand the context of what happened here. As Connor Rozee takes the intercept mark, he actually does take a couple steps off his mark, and Jai Simpkin runs over the mark to try and tackle him. Luckily, the umpires actually used his real common sense here and called them both back. I think that's the right choice. Connor Rozee probably played on earlier before Jai Simpkin went over, but we've seen stuff like this before where the defender does run over the mark because the person looks like they've played on and they get paid a 50-metre penalty. But I think this is the right choice, get them both to come back. He did take a couple steps to make it look like play on, but I'm I'm not sure if it's enough to be considered play on, and then you've got to be leaning the other way too, so I thought this was very good by the umpire. This one was really unusual, odd even for Vloston, who's got the ball, he's taking it in from the kick in, and he just kicks it straight to Harrison Betty. And then it's quite funny because you can actually see him point to the umpire and say, no, that wasn't 15. But I'm sure if his teammate marked it, he wouldn't have said that. After Aaliyah intercepts the ball, he bursts away from Jack Darling, and he's got a couple options there that he can handball it to or kick it down the line. He does this little chip kick, and he just kicks it straight out of bounds on the full. In a milestone game for Archie, he almost had goal of the year, or possibly goal of the week, who knows. But I want to give this point of the week. I thought this was very good. He bursts through the pack, knocks someone over, and then kicks it, but unfortunately just goes straight up, and eventually through for a behind. As Lynch marks the ball inside his forward 50, as he goes back for his set shot, you can actually see in the background that Ben Brown is sitting there watching his old teammates from Melbourne. It's a rare sighting of Sideshow Bob. As the ball goes inside the forward 50 for the West Coast Eagles, always kicks the ball up looking for a marker, and then Jamie Cripps goes up and doesn't make front-on contact. Could be very close. The umpire could have paid a free kick against him for Sicily, but he's able to get the ball down to ground and then tackle the defender, who gets called for holding the ball and kicks a goal. Earlier in the game, Charlie Curnow let a goal go through, and this one here, why wouldn't you if the skipper's taking a shot at goal from 65 metres out? But he lets this one roll through, and it actually goes through for a point. This is the reason why this rule was brought in. As you can see, Iden is going for the ball, but he goes down to the ground and actually takes out Kennedy's knees and legs. It's an extremely dangerous thing. The reason this was brought in is because this can break legs. Now, I'm not saying that it should be a suspension, but possibly a fine for an action like this, just to reiterate, to let the players know this is not acceptable. This could have actually ended someone's careers if you broke both of his legs. It just doesn't need to happen. Now for this clip, please keep in mind I am a Crows fan, so I might be slightly biased for this, but I feel like Max Michelani didn't have a huge amount of time to dispose of the ball. It's not like he had a massive amount that he had another option. He does get the ball and take a step, and then Dudley tackles him, pinning one arm, and he makes no attempt to get rid of the ball. So I guess technically, yes, that is the correct call, but at what instance was he able to get rid of the ball legally? Just because someone holds one arm back and tackles you down to the ground facing forward, I don't know. I just don't think that this should have been a free kick for me. What do you think? As the D's are passing the ball around, it gets over to Langdon, who's almost immediately tackled or bumped as he takes possession of the ball. And as the ball goes down, it does look like it comes off of his foot. There's a bit of confusion, but the boundary umpire actually calls this as out of bounds on the full. After King gives away a free kick to Jai Amos, he handballs the ball back to him very fast. It was obviously over aggressive, and the umpire's seen this as if he's just thrown it at him. He didn't throw it, he handballed it back, but he did do it way too hard that most people would not try to catch this, because you could hurt your fingers. But he gives away a 50-metre penalty. I mean, he's probably going to kick the goal anyway, but not so much a coach killer, just a little bit funny. As Ed Richards kicks the ball inside the Dogs' forward 50, it bounces down and Taylor tries to pick up the ball, and he does handball, but he slightly misses it, and then Harms is able to just get a boot on it and kick probably one of the easiest goals he's ever done. The handball here from Cosy Pickett was so fast that the umpire actually thought it was a throw.
McIntosh slapped it down. Pickett flicked it out to Windsor, but it was flicked out to Green.
Are you allowed to do this while standing on the mark? Are you supposed to stand, not run around in circles and jump all over the place? What's the rules about that? I thought this was an interesting no call here from the umpire, as still side bottom gets the handball. It does look like he tries to evade a little bit, almost bracing for contact from Merritt, and in the middle of the tackle the ball comes loose. He drops the ball. This should have been holding the ball for me. As the ball is inside the Crows forward 50, it bobbles around a little bit and eventually goes to Rankin, who kicks a goal. But just take a look at him. When he kicks it, he just turns around and immediately knows this one's going through. as Isaac Kako kicks the ball inside the Bombers forward 50. I think he's going for a massive kick, trying to kick it from about a 50 mark, but watch the replay, it comes off the outside of the boot, but lands in the hands of Durham. So yeah, exactly how he drew it up. As the ball goes inside the Brisbane Lions forward 50, you can see Wilkie takes the mark, but he juggles it over the line. At least for me, it looks like it's clearly gone over the line and should have been a throw-in, but the umpire, who is pretty close, has paid this a mark. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. This video is a little bit different than usual. I've been sick, my computer hasn't been working. It's been a pretty average weekend for me. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week.